boys and girls, it's Mrs. Beitler back to reread our story from yesterday, Stone Soup. Remember, that's the title of our story. And remember, our author, she retold this folk tale, right? The folk tale Stone Soup. It's retold by Heather Forrest in her own way. And Susan Gaber is the illustrator, the person who drew the beautiful pictures for our story today. So remember in our book yesterday when we read it, two strangers came to the mountain village looking for food. Let's stop and think. Can you remember what a village is? Think about it. Go ahead and tell me or somebody you're reading the story with. Okay, so when the people in the village came out to see what the strangers were doing, they made quite a crowd. Remember, we talked about the word crowd yesterday. Have you ever been part of a crowd? A big, large group of people, a gathering of people? And where were you when you were in that crowd? Okay, so today as I read the story, I'm going to be asking you a few questions. I know it's a long story, so we're just going to listen to most of the story, but then I'm going to ask you a few questions and I need your help throughout the story. So pay close attention, okay, as I read. All right, here we go. Are we ready? The title of our story again is called Stone Soup. There once was a comfortable little village nestled in the mountains. The people who lived there had more than enough to keep themselves content. One day, two travelers came along. Their coats were tattered. Tattered. I hear the word tattered. Look at their coats over here. What do you think the word tattered might mean? Their hats were torn. Their dusty shoes had holes in their soles. Hungry and tired, one traveler said to the other, "Surely someone here can spare a bit of food." We're going to stop here before I read. Do you remember did the woman share any food with the travelers? Okay, let's start reading. They knocked. Go ahead and knock on the door like the travelers. Knock, knock, knock. They knocked boldly on a door. It creaked open and a woman asked, "What do you want?" "Please," said one of the travelers, "we are hungry. Do you care? Will you share? Do you have any food?" The woman squinted her eyes and tartly replied, "No." She quickly slammed the door shut. The travelers walked a little farther down the road and knocked on another door. Let's knock on that door. Knock, knock, knock. A young boy answered. His chocolate brown eyes were sweet. "Good day," he said shyly. "What do you want?" "Please," said one of the travelers, "we are hungry. Do you care? Will you share? Do you have any food?" The boy replied, "There is no food here," and closed the door. Do you remember how the villagers or the travelers were feeling after they were told no, there was no food to share? How would they feel? Okay, let's keep reading. The travelers wandered wearily through the village, knocking on every door, but everywhere they heard, "I don't care, I won't share, there is no food." They sat to rest beside a well. One traveler sighed and clutched his empty belly. Ooh, he clutched his empty belly. That means he held his empty belly. How do you think his belly was feeling here? He said, "If there really is no food in this elegant little village, then the people who live here are in greater need than we are. We should make them our magical soup." The two travelers climbed up on the edge of the well and shouted, "We are master cooks. If anyone in this town has a big black pot, we will make the most delicious soup anyone has ever tasted." A door slowly opened. A round man emerged carrying a gigantic black pot. "I love to eat," he said. Here's a pot. Let me see what you two master cooks can do with it. Watch and see, one traveler said with glee. The travelers filled the pot with cold water and built a fire. Soon the flames licked the side of the pot. So when you hear the flames licked the side of the pot, flames of fire don't have tongues, but that means they are coming up on the side of the pot. Do you see the flames over here? That's what they mean by it licked the side of the pot. Curious people began to gather. What is happening? The townspeople asked. Do you remember what they made? They gathered in what's that word? A crowd, right? They're in a crowd. We are making an unusual soup, said one of the travelers. It requires a special magical ingredient. I am certain we will find it in this town. All the eyes in the crowd watched as one of the travelers reached down and picked up an ordinary stone. He tossed it in the pot with a splash. We're making stone soup, he said. It will be nutritious, delicious, incredible, and edible. But it would taste better, he paused. If we only had a carrot. Do you remember what happens next? What does this little girl do? We can tell in the picture what she's about to do. Okay, let's read and find out. Where would we even find a carrot in this town? The other traveler asked. We knocked on every door, and everywhere we heard, I don't care, I won't share. There is no food. Then perhaps we cannot make the delicious soup after all. They both announced with a sad shrug of their shoulders and began to turn away. A child timidly raised her hand and said, Wait, I might have a small carrot. Excellent, shouted the travelers. Bring what you've got. Put it in the pot. We're making stone soup. This magical soup would taste even better if we had a potato, they added. A deep voice in the back crowd called out, I have a potato. Wonderful, shouted the travelers. Bring what you've got. Put it in the pot. We're making stone soup. It would taste better still, they said, if we had just a few more ingredients. Okay, so before we turn the page, do you remember what happens next? So they said it would taste better still if we just had a few more ingredients. What do you think's going to happen next? Okay, let's turn the page to see if you're right. Perhaps, said one villager, I could bring a green bean. Well, said another, if you're going to bring a green bean, I will bring a kernel of corn. I shall not be outdone, cried another. I will bring an egg noodle. One by one, voices announced, I will bring a slice of celery. I will bring a pinch of pepper. I can bring a sprig of parsley. I might have a tiny turnip. Well, what are you waiting for? Cried the travelers. Bring what you've got, put it in the pot. We're making stone soup. So what started to happen? What did all the villagers do? What were they doing? Okay, let's read. Everyone in the town ran home to bring one small thing to put in the pot. Food flew through the air and landed with splashes in the growing soup. Soon, the huge pot was full and simmering. A wonderful smell drifted through the air. The smell was so tempting, people brought out bowls, spoons, chairs, and tables. They placed hearty loaves of bread, chunks of cheese, and bowls of fruit on tablecloths. Everyone came to taste the soup and marveled at the flavor. It's amazing, said one woman. These two travelers made such a delicious soup out of a stone. Out of a stone, said the travelers with a grin. And a magical ingredient. Do you remember what their magical ingredient was? Yeah, it was sharing. As the travelers left the town, they said, "If anyone ever wants to make this soup again, just remember the recipe. Bring what you've got, put it in the pot. Every bit counts, from the largest to the least. Together we can celebrate a stone soup feast." The end. All right, boys and girls, thanks for rereading Stone Soup with me again. And remember, sharing is caring. I will see you all again soon. Bye.